years ago, like I was friendly with Cliff and Ruby, and I used to chat with them at night. And it was interesting because I thought Ruby looked like a Jewish girl. Okay, now I'm telling her all this because you see, we take ourselves wherever we go. And she had this really like voice that, oh, she must be like me. And she was Asian, but we were
Yeah,
laughing.
she's a little Chinese girl. All right,
Yeah.
you guys, you're live on YouTube, and the mic is all yours.
All right, I'm going to start out today because I'm going to be called, they said probably about 8:45, but we'll see. So this one is a really good lesson because grievance is an attack on God's plan. And Jesus is basically saying, do we really want the plan that we made up? Do we really want that patterns of behavior? And when you fall into the gut of the ego, when you fall down to the rabbit hole, you don't even see anything else but your rage. So I went into a contemplation on what happens to this character when I'm in the ego and I believe I'm right and the other's wrong. You're stuck in a mind control system like a computer. And to get out of it, you really need to, for me anyway, was to actually to start to apologize and also laugh because when I got to see that I was making this all up last week, and I don't like to take last week into this week because it hasn't even come up in my mind, but it's just an indication of how fast the ego can be believed and how it ruins every relationship because it's never about anyone else. It's always about me. It's what I'm seeing. So I can just share with you guys that we see the past. We all know that. But I do see certain people when they talk. I'm not really seeing them if I'm in the ego. I'm seeing them from my past. So if anybody does something that I haven't healed yet, that's still going to get me, it's from my past. And I started to laugh when I was by myself. I said, God, you could tell me all day long that it's all me, and I wouldn't have believed it. I wouldn't have believed the way the mind. It's a mind control system, and the beauty of it is that, as Jesus says, there's a limit to our pain, right? He will limit the pain of this process. So, and then you're left with this organic laughter. But, here I am in this lesson. And it's so funny because here's what Ken starts out with viewing the lessons as a series, which I totally love because it is exactly what he says different movements in a gigantic symphony. We see how each one is part of the larger whole, the lessons building upon themselves as the music of forgiveness evolves. In this lesson, Jesus talks a great deal about the body. Yet it is not the body that is the problem, but our belief in it. This defends against the body's source, the guilt in our minds. So I think I explained, I don't know if I explained it last week, but it's been 2 weeks now that I have this thing called histamine intolerance. So I went on a elemental diet. So here I am itching because of course, I didn't ask for guidance. I did not ask for guidance. And I went and cheated this week after like 3 days. Meanwhile, I'm on elemental means it's all liquid. But I was so hungry and I just started to eat foods. And now I'm sitting back with this constant itching. So the mind is busy like talking about it all the time. And I'm trying to watch it, but I'm also hearing and believing the mind at times because it itches and it's uncomfortable. But how do I know even what this is if it wasn't for the past, right? So I have to sit in the stillness and realize that so it itches. The ego says it's going to itch the rest of your life. They're not going to find anything, not anything. Now, how I got this, I think, is that I was on fermented foods for 3 years, and that was great. But I imagine that I ate too much of it and it just got in there with my histamine and messed it up. And when you go back into the character that I'm living through's past, I always had issues with my digestion. When I was 30, I had salmonella poisoning and I was in the hospital for 10 days. They didn't know if they were going to bring me out of it. all of this, then I had H. pylori. All of this is the emotions, right, that are just still sitting in the dark corners of my mind. And so just being very gentle and turning within stops the whole cycle of even itching because I'm out of the matrix when I do that. I am not in the character who really, every ego has like a certain thing that it loves. And this ego that I'm in really likes to whine about how it feels, you know? So it's like changing behavior only happens when it's a change of mind, really. And so I immediately the ego was making plans because I teach today. I have a couple students at the in the afternoon today. And I thought, well, gotta cancel. And tomorrow I'm teaching, gotta cancel. And I'm like, no, that recorder's not going to tell me to cancel. It's always preparing to keep us safe and also to sabotage the Son of God. It's to sabotage. When I work, I feel great. I mean, do I itch? Yes, but I have other things to think about, right? Now, it's funny about not listening to the ego because the trickster that the ego is, the ego will say, that's me, that's me. And the ego is literally talking to itself. There is no entity here. If I'm angry, I become angry. I've often spoken about Inside Out the movie, and this was created. Everything's created by consciousness here. There's no separate anything. I mean, it's just this one wholeness that's putting on a movie, and we always compliment the Son of God for being a good actor, a good artist. But we're all doing this as a joint effort. I see this as just one big kaleidoscope that is coming back together, right, as a whole. So when I think about like the trickster of the ego, I think, but why? Why do I do that? Well, it's always about unworthiness for this mind. It's like, how could you be God? Look what you blah, blah, blah. And that's what it does. But to take our place among the teachers of God is to realize that even if this body goes up in flames, we will still be here. There's nothing. It will hurt because we're wired to these you know, senses. All of that has an effect on the whole. I guess the whole sonship. The thing is, we are not. We're an organism that is just in a complete matrix that is a belief system that probably happened in a nanosecond. And for us, it feels like, for me, 70 years. And it's so important for me to change a habit, and that is whining and knowing what I'm going to do tomorrow or even later today. You know how the course talks about, it's important that you don't need to make plans. And it's really saying that because who we are doesn't have to make plans. Now, it's not saying don't keep your doctor's appointment or don't get your insurance policy updated or whatever, because that would just be magic, just playing a game on me. But it is saying you don't know how you're going to feel. Because if you turn to me as Holy Spirit, you can watch the itching, you can watch it all. And the drama queen that Sharon is will just have to watch, quiet down because I'm not getting in on that as the power. Because I am the power of this character. That's why the character has so many power. And so when I just lay back into the oneness and realize that the grievances, of course I know I have grievances still. Of course I know that. And I'm attacking the plan that was set out for me. We all have a plan. But I think Dove has always said this, don't interfere. You need to do nothing but don't interfere. Well, I guess for me, the interference is showing me basically that I'm in a thought system that was just like built for me on all concepts. So Lynn spoke on Tuesday about integration inner. Okay, it was I forget what you said, Lynn. Are you there? Because it's interracial trauma. Like the trauma that we bring up from our family of origin. That's in this too. And I guess Lynn walked away. And that's it. That's pretty important because what is that? Oh no, this is Oh, Suzanne, hi. Hi, pretty girl. You look gorgeous with that hair, white hair. Anyway, so it's kind of like, do I want to really believe in the stupid mind? Do I really want to hate people because they believe something else other than me? What is the point? You're still living in the full self that isn't really authentic. It's not. It can't be. Now, sometimes in a meeting, like I'll say I'm authentic because I'm crying, but in the ego, can you really be authentic? You know, what I tried to be is honest in the process, not judge myself for falling down the rabbit hole, because I had a great fear of failing in a course group. Because if you ever notice, if anyone's going to correct you, it's a Course in Miracles student. That's what we do, because it's all conditioned from the past. And sometimes we're doing it out of help. But the point is that nobody's ever wrong. And really, all rightness is just from the fact that we're looking at just a movie. So, like when all this is hyping up in the news and we're getting upset or not getting upset or happy about the candidate or not being, all of that is a huge distraction from on, pretty much sitting on a plan, right? Because the plan is to follow spirit. Spirit does not see anything here. Now, I'll see images until I don't. But I had this like sitting the other night with just seeing in my mind how I am really seeing just different parts of the sunship that are all me. And each one of them is basically unwinding a thought system that is so mean. And so, like Ken says, be kind to everyone because they're all fighting a hard battle. And it's from our family of origin, it's from our friends, it's from the sonship. In the end, as stuff falls away, you realize your thoughts never belonged to you. They were just like things like leaves falling off a tree, and we all grabbed them. And it's a grab bag. Do we want to grab them today? In any case, I'm feeling like very good that I shared this because I am calling a truce with the ego. I do not want the ego to tell me ahead of time how I shouldn't do this and I shouldn't do that. Because how the heck do I know? It's always like, how it says don't evaluate. It's always evaluating what I should eat now. Well, you ate that, now you have to eat this. And you know what it does? It's a funny farm. It puts you in insanity without any answer. So I'm going to be quiet and share this with Lorri and then listen. And then when I get my call, get off and then come back in. Okay? So thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. That was wonderful. And I'm so glad you're here. I mean, I'm not surprised because I've seen both of us melt down a number of times and then we always come back. We need our meltdowns. I'm I was just working out, so I didn't expect you to talk so short. Well, actually, you talked for 15 minutes, but I wasn't watching the time. So, and welcome, Suzanne. You're here on Thursday. Welcome. And from Bali. And welcome, Cher and Deb and Karen. And so, if any of you guys want to speak up, oh, it's Thursday night for you. Wow. So, if anyone wants to
Is
speak
that
up,
share? Is that share on there?
I think it's Cher.
Yep.
iPhone, it's probably Cher.
Sure.
Okay.
I just saw her brief. Yeah, there she is.
Hi, Share.
So, if anyone wants to speak up, just raise your hand. And I just wanted to comment on a few things that Sharon said. I loved what you said about it's all emotion. All those physical symptoms are really emotion. And that is so true, whether it's H. pylori or histamine or fibromyalgia, because you've gotten over a lot of physical things, really tough physical things. And I look at that too in my own life that recently I've been wanting, like, I am done with having gas. I am so done with being stinky. And Suzanne's laughing, you know, and I realized, why isn't this gas healing? And I, meditated on it and got into, oh, there's that little girl who feels like she's ugly and stinky and stupid. And in the last couple weeks, or last couple days actually, I've been having these dreams about my relationships that just went terrible. And they just ended up bad. And they were from bad decisions that I appeared to make. And just letting go of the past and letting go of this belief that I'm stupid and belief that I'm stinky. And so and the proof comes from when I can eat certain things. And if I get myself into a place of, I look at, do I feel like I'm going to get gas from this? Do I feel like I'm an awful person right now? And when I get to a place of, no, no, I'm good. I am as God created me. I'm not this body that's disgusting. Um, like last night, I ate 5 or 6 prunes, no gas, no gas. The other night, I ate a vegetable soup, tons of vegetables in it. That would normally give me lots of gas, no gas. And I've noticed that before, that when I can eat beans or whatever, and if I'm in a place of love, I am as God created me, no gas. Isn't that interesting? So the gas issue comes up when I'm contemplating a new relationship and going, oh God, no, no, I'm going to have to go in the other room. I don't want this guy to know how stinky I am. It's really bad. Well, I looked at that when I was a little girl. And what do you do? What do little kids do? They laugh about farts. Kids love farts. Adults love farts. All kinds of fart jokes, fart cards, fart jokes, comedians make it. And it is taking something with the body that's pretty disgusting. Um, I love what you just said, Deb. Grievances constipate. and, and Karen writes, the body is stinky, LOL. Well, I had just talked to this guy online that I met, and there was an attraction there, and the guy, he said that, he goes, bodies stink, and I'm like, that's what I always say. I'm always the one saying the bodies stink, and people are like, really? Most people don't hate the body as much as I have, but this holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. And he says that. He says, it's not the body that's the problem, but our belief in it. It's not the world that's the problem, but our belief in it. So when that guy said that, and this is all coming up, I'm going, I don't need to believe in this anymore. I really don't have to hold these grievances anymore. Dove, underarm deodorant doesn't help grievances. And what I've noticed too with deodorant is that when I'm going through a lot of fear, like I've a couple times when I've ended relationships and I'm not in a new one and I'm afraid of being alone. Oh my God, the underarm stink was so bad. And I knew it was fear. I knew it. And fortunately, I don't have that anymore because my source is God. I rely on God, and I know all is well. And so I don't get that kind of stink. But I've had the stink, the gas stink, where it's like, oh my gosh, my granddaughter she'll go, Gamma, did you fart? Ew, and she fans her hand in front of her nose. And it was so funny because a couple years ago, this is before she really kind of knew what all that was, all farts and everything, because then she went through her phase of, loving farts. And the 3-year-old, she's like, I farted. It's like, oh God. But a couple years ago, my granddaughter, and good morning, Mickey, she just matter of factly, she was about 4 at the time. She goes, Gamma, you stink. It's like, yes, this body stinks, but wanting to get over it because I'm just done with it. It's like, I'm just so done with this kind of, I don't want to stink. I don't want to believe that I'm a body. And that's what this says. It's the body's not the problem, but our belief in it. And in chapter 18, section 6, beyond the body, it talks about, you who hate the body deceive yourself. You hate your mind because guilt has entered into it, and you would remain separate from your brothers, which you cannot be. And so as I look at that and go, where do I believe I'm a body? Well, this is a big area that I believe I'm a body, and not only just a body, but a disgusting body. So anyway, I'm really grateful to have these demonstrations of, okay, I'm going to address this head on. And I use the Sedona method, and one of the techniques is, could you let go of wanting to have that problem? Because it's just like the Course. It says everything that happens to us, we're asking for, and we actually want. So I'll check it out. And if I'm eating something that, well, eating something that gives me gas, everything gives me gas. I've said that forever. And people, I'll read things that say, oh, the average person gets gas 15 times a day. I'm like, try 15 times an hour for me. It's that bad, you know. And but so when I'm looking at that going, could I let go of wanting to be stinky? Could I let go of wanting to be this body that's disgusting, and really go into that? Like, I think that's who I am. I still think I'm in a body in a world that I have these grievances. And as Dove wrote, grievances constipate. And so when I go into that and go, yeah, I could let that go. No, that's not who I am. And then sit in the place of, I am as God created me. And like I said, when I do that, there's no gas, and I can eat prunes and there's no gas. And so it's like, okay, what, and I've had that many, many times where that's happened. But most of the time I just go around having gas because I haven't dealt with it. It's just there. So I loved what Sharon said a couple weeks ago. She said she likes to work with the Claire's, Corinne Zupko's book, The Claire's. She took that class and said, the body is where our grievances, or where the ego, or where traumas or whatever hide. All the ego beliefs hide in the body. And so I looked at that and said, oh, wow, what is hiding here? And I had a brief, well, not even a relationship. Well, yeah, it is a relationship. It's a holy relationship with this guy couple weeks ago, a couple of intense weeks, and we're still contacting, and we can feel it. It's like, and he's a course teacher, and he's really cool, and I really like him. And that is what brought up the oh my gosh, I don't want him to know how stinky I am, how disgusting I am. And so I was really glad for that. And then also, even just contacting him, it was like that brought up all this belief of all the stupid decisions I've made around relationships, which I don't do anymore. I'm over that, but obviously it's still in my psyche, or I wouldn't be having these dreams for 3 nights in a row. These dreams of how terrible. It's like how these relationships just went so bad. But of course, this is a dream of death. What do you expect? The body's going to die. We have all these various dreams, and they're all the same. It's a dream of death, whether it's a body illness, or whether it's a relationship illness, or a financial illness. It doesn't matter. It's a dream of death. And so, Dove, you just wrote, you put a thing. It's kind of hard for me to read, so I don't.
I'll read it. I'll read it later.
Oh, go ahead and read it.
Okay. Actually, this was created and sent to me this morning by Susanna and Wade from Bali. So I just want to give them credit. All right, I just made it larger. Anyone can make it larger if you just click it. It says the light of truth is in us, where it was placed by God. It is the body that is outside of us. Very, very clear. We are not the body. The body is outside of us and is not our concern. Big, big, big thought. The body is not my concern, nor is anybody else's body my concern. That's what I'm including. To be without a body is to be in our natural state. Oh, I love being in my natural state. To recognize the light of truth in us is to recognize ourselves as we truly are. To see ourselves as separate from the body is to end the attack on God's plan for salvation. So The only attack on God's plan for salvation is me seeing bodies. And that's the same thing as the word sin. When I see bodies, I see separation. That's the attack on God's plan for salvation. And to accept God's plan instead of my plan. And whatever his plan is accepted, it's accomplished already immediately, because it was always accomplished. It was never not there. And that is what it says.
Great. Thank you. And if we look at this, thanks for sending that, Suzanne, too. If we look at this whole thing, this whole lesson is about the body. So we're all holding grievances against the body and believing in the body, therefore believing in the world. So with that, I'm just going to turn this over to Dove now.
Okay, wow. And thank you so much, Lynn, for making it large enough so everybody can read it, because it made a real difference in my life this morning, because I was able to apply it to something that was happening in my first 2 hours of this morning. A lot of you know I send money to the Philippines, and when you send it, it has to go through PayPal subsidiary called Zoom, and then it goes on to a thing called Gcash, which is the way they receive money in the Philippines and send it to each other. Gcash has a couple of rules. People in the Philippines can send any amount of money that they want, $5, $10, $2, $1, it doesn't matter. But if you're from an international sender like the United States, they got different rules for you, baby. You got to send a minimum of 2,000 pesos, which comes down to around, could be $40, a minimum. But if you find someone who has what's called a verified balance, you can send 1,000. They kind of make exceptions because the person you're sending it to has a real network there. You know, it's like having a Wi-Fi, you might say, for your receiving. So you only have to send 1,000. So last night I sent this person 1,700, and they had said to me that they had verified balance. So 1,700 was good, but no, they were mistaken, and Gcash held the money, and they weren't going to give it up unless I sent more to meet the 2,000. And this was going on. And I said, don't worry, I'll send it. Don't worry. And I said, after I sent it, the woman I sent it to said, well, you know, I need more for whatever. And this went on for 2 hours. And no matter what I said, it wouldn't make her happy. Literally. Now, I find that that's something that happens in a lot of my relationships. And you can't make anybody happy, period. Happiness is what we are. You can't make the ego happy. The ego is the symbol of unhappiness. The ego is unhappy. Now you know why I have a dog called Happy. And I have found that by saying I am happy, I actually change everything by actually saying I am happy. I mean, he tells you in lesson 101, God's will for me is perfect happiness. And lesson 102 says, and I share his will for perfect happiness. So my will and God's will is the same will. And then he tells you in 103, God being love is also happiness. So love and happiness are equal. They equate. It's an equation. So when you say I'm coming from love, no, I'm coming from happiness. Now, if a person says I'm so unhappy and I don't care what you do, you're not going to make me happy, there's nothing I can do. But I've been doing that for a very long time. And all of a sudden I get this thing from Susanna today from lesson 72, and she makes these pictures because she is a creator, always creating. One of the 3 pictures I have on my wall is her creation for me of the elephant under the waterfall saying, You gotta laugh. You gotta laugh. And thank you so much for you gotta laugh. Yeah. So if you align yourself with your original will that God created, remember we share the same will. It's not that God's will and my will is different. And that's true for everybody because we are equal. Now, if you see somebody who's different, guess what? You're listening to the wrong teacher. So let me put up a few things that I put up here earlier. One is from Ken Wapnick, who reviews lessons 71 and 72. And of course, 71 is the same thing as 72. Only God's plan for salvation will work. Only God's plan will work. The word only tells you, hey, baby, there's nothing else. Only God's plan for salvation will work. And then we come to 72, and holding grievances is an attack. Now, Ken Wapnick's comment on this, which I think I can put up and post for everybody over here. Ken Wapnick's commentary is, if we are upset, if we are unhappy, we know we have chosen the ego. Now, God's plan for salvation, I'm putting it up here. Now, God's plan calls for us to change our minds, and Ken gets very clear. More to the point, to change our teacher. To change our teacher. Of course, I'm listening to a madman talking to me, and I'm, for those of us who go to see Mandy, and I can read you that poem, but I'm going to let Lynn do it because she's going to be my reader. I'm announcing that I'm doing the homily on Sunday at Regina's, Sunday, March 30th, and Lynn's going to be my reader, and she is going to be reading from Mandy's brand new poem, which I don't know if you can see it. I don't think you can see it. I don't know. Oh, there it is. Okay. And her brand new poem is this God talking? I'll just do the first paragraph or so. Is this God talking? Is it so? If my thoughts are busy judging or joyless, the answer is no. Is this God talking? Or is it my mind hawking its wayward negative beliefs, stealing my peace like a thief's set of tools to break into my safe, taking my treasure and attacking my faith? No, that's not God talking. It goes on and on, one paragraph after another, where she's laughing at the silliness of listening to the ego thought system. And Lynn may read it later if she wants. Of course, she will, or even play Mandy speaking it, because we all meet with Mandy on Monday mornings at 10:30. Not here at Gather, but on Mandy's Zoom session. Okay. I got so much to say. I don't even know what's nice to say, but what I want to point out is that this paragraph 9 from today's lesson, got me to see that you cannot ever work with the egos of this world. I mean, he tells you, the world is insane. So trying to work with insanity is insane. So to get out of my prison suit or my insanity suit, I have to recognize I am not this body, and neither is my brother or sister a body either. We are equal. Now, Dev talks a lot about equality, and now it's coming home to roost. Equality means if I'm seeing my brother as anything other than the love, the peace, and the happiness of God, love being happiness, they're all one and the same, I'm out of my mind. I'm listening to the wrong teacher again. So you can be happy now. You have to wait until you meet your brother and your brother says something silly to you and you have to say, I need the Holy Spirit's interpretation. No, you can go straight to spirit now. I am not a body. My God, he says that 23 times in the course. I am not a body. I'm free of the body. I am still as God created me. Thank you. Oh, and there's one other thing I forgot. And I sent it off to a few people. I think I sent it to Mickey and to Karen. The picture from Susanna, and Karen wrote something which I want to write. I want to put up. Karen said, basically, she repeated a paragraph from lesson 136, paragraph 20, and that's the one that says, if a sickness is a defense against the truth. And this is what it says. I have forgotten what I really am, for I mistook my body for myself. Sickness is a defense against the truth, but I am not a body, and my mind cannot attack, so I cannot be sick. And then she says to me, and I post this as well, Ken Wapnick says, everyone should read lesson 136 once a day. I think that is what Karen said. Is it once a day, Karen? I don't know. Yes, once. Can you imagine that?
Once a week.
Oh, once a week. Oh, thank you. So, yeah, I mean, sickness is a defense against the truth. I can't blame anybody. It's me who's sick. You gotta laugh. That's it. Just breathe. Just breathe. I'm out of the woods, by the way. I'm out of the woods. I'm just breathing. You gotta laugh.
Okay, I'll talk, and if Sharon, if you're not on the phone with your doctor, you can come in because it's your turn. But yes, I love lesson 136 and read it regularly. And it's not just sickness of the body, it's sickness of everything. If you see a world and you believe it, yeah, like Suzanne, you know, it's in your mind. If you see a world and you believe it, then you're sick. And it's a defense against what we really are. And when we delve into that, when we just sink into that truth and we go, oh yeah, I was believing the world again. Oh yeah, I was believing that I was the body again. And I've had a beautiful example of that in the last week. A week and a half ago, my nephew made his transition from a brain tumor, and I was supposed to be out in Philadelphia right now to help with his hospice, but I had a pretty strong feeling that he wasn't going to make it that long. And so I didn't end up going to Philadelphia. And that's, anyway, so, but I never really talked to him that much. He was my niece's husband, and I'm close to my niece and to my grandniece, her daughter. But, you know, he and I didn't have a whole lot in common, so we never really talked, but I liked him, you know. And I feel like I've talked with him more now since he has transitioned than I did in all the years that he was around. I mean, he's been around my whole life because my niece met him when she was very young. So, but it was just so cool because it's been cool because it's like now the body and the personality, it's not a barrier. It's not a barrier at all. And it seems, I've heard, and it does seem to me that when people transition, they're just so grateful when anybody can hear them and talk to them. They're glad to have that contact. And I had that once at my cousin's funeral. I could just feel him talking to me, and I could feel the chills and everything. And he was like, please tell them this, please tell them that, because they want people to know, I'm right here, I'm right here, I'm right here. So anyway, let's see, there were a couple things on the board that were really cool. Suzanne, you said, when I realize I'm not happy, I have found that all I have to do is smile, and that makes me happy. And that's so perfect. And if you do it right now and you smile, you automatically feel, you can feel that going right through your body. And that's one of those hacks or the little tricks that people say to do when you're down. And it does work. You can feel it. And Karen, you had written on the board, trials are but lessons. they will keep showing up until we learn them. And so I'm really grateful for this friend, this guy coming in my life to show me these things that I hadn't dealt with fully before. It's like, oh wow, I didn't realize. I mean, it's just such like elevator music in the background all the time. I did not realize that I was constantly feeling like I was stupid, stinky, and I forget the last one now. Doesn't matter. Stinky, stupid, and gosh, I can't even remember. Isn't that good? So hacks from Jesus. Ha, yeah, Dove. And in your gentle laughter are you healed. It's like, I can't believe that I thought that, or I can't believe I did that. How many times have we done that? We look at our whole life, all of us. If we're doing the course and we're really doing it, every single one of us look at our lives and go, oh my God, what have I done? Or better said, what do I think I have done? And it's just really cool that this whole lesson is about the body and holding grievances on the body. I really need this right now. Oh, well, we all need it all the time. And Dove, I love too what you said about you can't make any ego happy. No matter what you do, it's going to want more. And
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah, you had said that too about what is the Antichrist? More of. And I actually heard, I think I heard one of my grandchildren say something like that recently about, I want more. Like, oh, there it is. And okay, so oh yeah, Hacks from Jesus, a title for the homily. And Suzanne, you wrote, what do you think you have done? But whatever you think happened in the past didn't happen. Thank God. Hallelujah. And yesterday, my grandchild, and she just, these little kids are so cute. They just burst out in song. And she's singing, row, row, row your boat. And then she's singing, life is but a dream. And every time they sing that, I say, yes, life is a dream. It's just like your dreams at night. And even in the daytime, it's a dream. Yep, it's a dream. So I'm going to read some from Ken's Journey from the workbook. Paragraph 4, this is the actual workbook words. You are not dealing here with what the person is. On the contrary, you are exclusively concerned with what he does in a body. You are doing more than failing to help him in freeing him from the body's limitations. You are actively trying to hold him to it by confusing it with him and judging them as one. So when we see somebody as a body, we are attacking God's plan for salvation. Oh my gosh. You are actively trying to hold him to it by confusing it with him and judging them as one. That is the workbook line. That's not even Ken's commentary. And in the Gods of Sickness in the text, it says, do not side with your brother in the face of illness. Because if you're siding with him and you're believing that his illness is true, you are holding him down. You are attacking him. And we don't want to do that. We don't want to attack anyone, and we don't want to attack ourselves. So if we think our particular bodily inconveniences or illnesses or problems are real, we're also attacking ourselves and, keeping us from God's plan for salvation. So Ken comments, shadows of the past, quote unquote, also tells us that we do not see people for the Christ they are, but as shadowy bodies based on the projection of guilt, our perceived evil seen in them. The following passage describes the ego's unholy use of the body as means for vengeance. And here's a passage from chapter 17. The shadow figures are the witnesses you bring with you to demonstrate he did what he did not. They represent the evil that you think was done to you. And that doesn't that feel like our dreams at night, these shadow figures? Our dreams are kind of shadowy, and there's all these figures that come and go as if by magic, right? Time is a trick, a vast illusion in which figures come and go as if by magic. And our nighttime dreams really are that way. When you can say, yeah, I know it was my mom, but it was my sister too. Or the people are, it was this person, but it was also this person at the same time. Or I was at this place, but it was really this other place. And dreams do that. And so it's these shadow figures, but that's the whole world. Even when we're awake during the daytime, or we seem to be awake, we're really asleep. They represent the evil that you think was done to you. You bring them with you only that you may return evil for evil, hoping that their witness will enable you to think guiltily of another and not harm yourself. They offer you the quote unquote reasons why you should enter into unholy alliances to support the ego's goals and make your relationships the witness to its power. Without exception, these relationships have as their purpose the exclusion of the truth about the other and of yourself. This is why you see in both what is not there, and why whatever reminds you of your past grievances attracts you and seems to go by the name of love. And finally, why all such relationships become attempts at union through the body, for only bodies can be seen as means for vengeance. That bodies are central to all unholy relationships is evident. And that's chapter 17, section 3. That's pretty dark. It's like all these ego, unholy relationships that are based on the body. And so it's really funny because this person that my friend, she had been trying to get this guy and me together for years. And she said, you guys got to get together. You guys got to get together. And so we finally did. And we were like, oh, we can see why she wanted us to get together, but there was no bodily sexual spark. And we both feel like that needs to be there. But then when he left, I went, really? Can't that just evolve? Or can't that just sort of, if you're meant to join, won't that be there? Or, that sense. And so I said, I'm not going to let that hold me back from this person that I think is absolutely awesome. And so it was really cool to say, no, I can change my mind. And if we're meant to be together, we'll be together. But then he was like, oh, I don't know. And he lives in another city. I'm not sure I want to move. So it's like, okay, fine, because I can't move. But I was really grateful for that sense of, this line. And finally, why all such relationships become attempts at union through the body, for only bodies can be seen as means for vengeance. Bodies are central to all unholy relationships is evident. And so I was really grateful for that lesson to say, you know what? I'm not choosing the body. I am not choosing what I think because he doesn't look like what I was imagining, but he's attractive in his own way. And so I was grateful that I'm not sticking to that and that I changed my mind. And so maybe that was just the lesson from this. I don't know. He and I are just friends at this point, and it could go somewhere or maybe not, but it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter because it's not about the body. It's about God's plan for salvation, which is to not see bodies at all. So I'm going to turn this over now back to you, Dove. Unless Sharon, if you're Sharon's not even in the room. So I'll turn this back over to you, Dove.
Okay. The funny thing is, the person I was talking about from earlier happened to hit the wrong button and call me in this interim. And we're talking, and I was talking about being happy. She says, I can't be happy because it was a bad day. So of course she's not a coarse person, and telling her, if you can let go of the past day and just breathe, which happens to be my new logo. I'm out of the woods, and just breathe. I think I don't know who it was that sent it to me. It could have been Karen. I'm not sure, but that's true. When we say let go of the past, we're talking about let go of the smelly air that you were talking about, Lorri. You know, and I even said, you know, grievances constipate and all that smelly air that we're breathing in, you know, that's the ego smog. You know, actually, Jesus in the Course, I think he actually uses the word fog, smog. That's what we're breathing in when we're living in the ego's past, future, time world. It's a world of time. To breathe fresh air, you have to leave the 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 world of time, which is smoggy and foggy and everything and smelly, and enter into the presence, which I know you, Lorri, are always talking about the presence of now. That's the only time you can breathe fresh air. And we all know about breathing as a spiritual exercise. You see Buddha, and what is Buddha doing? What is he thinking about? Maybe he's not even thinking. I mean, if you're Buddha and you're awake, come on, you're not thinking. You're breathing, right? It's just you're breathing fresh air. But the only time you can ever breathe fresh air is now. And that is what eternity is. Endless now. That's how you get out of the smog and the fog and the clouds and all that stuff that you want to get away from. You don't have to get away from. You were never there. You got to laugh. Oh my gosh! I should show the flag. I think I'm going to show the flag that Suzanne made for me a long time ago. I think I think I can do this, or can I? I don't know. How come it doesn't show? Oh God, it doesn't show. So anyway, it's the picture of an elephant under a waterfall, laughing his ass off as he's sitting under the waterfall, and it says, "You gotta laugh. You gotta laugh." Maybe I have to get back here. I don't know. Anyway, the only 3 pictures I got on my wall, on my bedroom wall, is "You Gotta Laugh" from Susanna, and "I Rest in God," which is lesson. What lesson is that again? I rest in God.
109.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And that was sent to me.
Sharonda.
Yes. Yes. Karen, you saved my ass. Sharonda, that's right. Sharonda sent it to me. And the only other picture I have is the one with me and Suzanne being married by the Reverend John Mundy. And those are my 3 pictures. You got to laugh. I rest in God and the love of God. That's it. You got to laugh. Thank you. Karen, your hand is up.
Thanks, Dov. I just wanted to comment on what Lorri just shared. And I think that's so beautiful, Lorri, because it's like you remove that block to love's presence, that block of the past conditioning, thinking that someone has to have a certain quality to be attracted to him physically, like that even matters, and letting go of that and opening up to what could be, because you think he's fantastic in so many other ways. I mean, that's like transforming a special relationship to a holy relationship. That's just removing the blocks and just allowing what will be, not attached to the outcome. And I just love that. And I just think that was worth acknowledging. So I really appreciate that, Lorri. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. I appreciate that. And that's one of the hugest lessons, because it was so funny, because we had this rush of energy, like at the beginning of of the relationship and thinking, oh, I think we're it for each other. I think we're meant to be. And then he got here and I had this huge wall up, like, no. And then I was judging myself saying, oh, you just have this wall up because he's not your physical type. But then in hindsight, it was like, no, because I'm like, no, it was more, well, anyway, it was just what was there. It was just what was meant to be. I didn't have to judge myself for it, because then when he left and then I took the wall down, and then he was like, yeah, no, I don't think I can move to Traverse City. And then we both agreed, well, it's kind of good that the wall was up there physically, because if we had been physical, it would have been even harder to separate. There's the picture. You gotta laugh. That's beautiful, Susanna. Oh my gosh. Are you going by Susanna now instead of Suzanne, or is that just in your Susanna and Wade versus your Suzanne ACIM moniker? Oh, it's for social media. Okay, great. That's beautiful. You gotta laugh. I love that. Oh, oh, is that cool? That is the coolest picture. Well, Suzanne, you are creative. Oh, you're incognito. Okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. Very cool. Well, we only have 2 minutes left. Dove, did you want to say some more?
No, other than I had a really wonderful, thankful Thursday, really, and as usual, we are just starting here, and Zulma's right here in the wings. She said, "I'm not in the wings. I'm right here, baby." And Zulma's on, and then Karen, and then Mickey, and then we go on. I think Rev and Audrey come on. So this is just the beginning of Thankful Thursday. We haven't even started yet. That's it.
Oh, Susanna, you know what? I was confusing with you with Suzanne de Kaiser, Susan Braverman. I remember Susie Braverman. We actually met. We met at one of the conferences one time. So okay, from Germany.
No,
You're the same person.
Susie from Vancouver. She now lives in Bali. Bali's her home.
Oh my gosh, you're all three of you is the same thing.
No, Susie from Germany's different. That's
from Germany. Yeah, Suzanne. Oh, Suzanne de Kaiser. You're not Suzanne. Oh, okay. I apologize. But yes, I know you, Susan, because I remember meeting you. I think, gosh, I think it might have been the first conference I ever went to in Cleveland or somewhere like that. I don't know. But yes, I remember you. So, okay, sorry. Oh, Cleveland. Okay, yeah. All right. I just wanted to read this one line.
It was in Cleveland. I remember that. And we went for oysters. I remember that too. And martinis. And Susie said to me, "Boy, you're a lightweight," because I only had one. I remember that. Thank you.
Karen says Susie sings the truly helpful prayers, and I see it's 9:30 and Lynn's on here to do the switch over. So I'll let go of the mic.
Take your time. I am absolutely enjoying this.
Well, I did want to make a comment about what you wrote on the board, Lynn, about let me go up. It says sex, quote unquote, is not for joining. Only what we can share with all is worthy of joining. And then you wrote sex limits the relationship. And it really can. I mean, if we're looking at it, like that, or like I was looking at it. And then I went to A Course of Love. And it was very interesting because it was talking about the body being spaciousness, the body not being form, because I get all caught up in form. And it says, no, the body is spaciousness. And then that's what Joe Dispenza talks about. The body is energy and information. And that really helps me when I see the body and form as simply energy and information and spaciousness that I am misperceiving. Then I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Then I don't have to hold my grievance against the body or bodies. So that's all I wanted to add.
And by the way, Susanna from Bali is the same one that did the singing of Here Only to Be Truly Helpful that everyone loves to listen to. Thank you, Karen, for remembering that. Karen, you are brilliant.
I just remember the first time I heard her, Regis played it. And I couldn't put the voice to the face until I finally met her on here. And I was so happy to finally see her face because Regis used to play it all the time. And I used to love when he played it. So I love it. I love when she sings it.
Suzanne, can you sing it now?
Oh, I was going to ask the same thing. So please.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I can. So I always start with, and this was yesterday's lesson. I couldn't believe it because it's about 12 hours ahead. So remember, Lynn, how it used to be really hard for me to get up early in the morning? Today it was just hard for me to stay awake. So it's all good. Okay, so what would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say and to whom? I'm here only to be truly helpful. I'm here to represent him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, for he who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever he wishes, knowing he goes there with me. I am healed as I let him teach me to heal. And so it is.
I love you. I love you. I love you. Oh, great.
That's beautiful. Is there
Wade says hi.
hello, Wade?
Hey, Wade.
Is
How are
there
you?
Hey, baby.
do you have a recording of that, Susanna?
Um,
The recording.
Because
no.
you said Regis used to play it, and I remember hearing it. And well, the
Yes.
reason I'm asking is one of my friends, his son just died, and he said what is helping him cope is that verse. And if it's in a recording, I would love to send it